Real Madrid didn't lose Rodri, they threw him away. They sat in the transfer room, placed the winning bid, but refused to say sold. Florentino Perez assumed Madrid's prestige was enough, but while Madrid hesitated over 76 million, Barcelona struck in Costa Brava. Because before Barcelona could steal Rodri from Madrid, they first had to convince Rodri that Barcelona was where he actually belonged. So, let's talk about the choice made, because on paper, Real Madrid had everything going for them. They had the heritage, the glamour, the El Clasico prestige, and the simple fact that Rodri was literally born in Madrid on June 22nd, 1996. He came through the academy at Atlético Madrid before proving himself at Villarreal, and then of course, City snapped him up in 2019, and Pep Guardiola spent 6 whole years turning him into the undisputed master of controlling rhythm, controlling space, and dictating football matches. Real Madrid had the money, and they had the hometown pull, but here's the thing about Rodri, he didn't want a circus. Real Madrid offer you status, but Barcelona sell you a soul. And when Barca came knocking, they didn't just offer him a contract, they offered him a footballing identity that he felt deep down in his bones. Listen, you can be born in Madrid and you can grow up in Madrid, but football doesn't always take you back to your birthplace. Sometimes it takes you where you actually belong. And in his own words, when he finally landed in Catalonia, Rodri didn't play it safe or drop generic media answers. He admitted straight out that playing for Barca was a genuine, honest-to-God dream. He had spent 6 years mastering positional play under Pep, absorbing the obsession with possession and tempo. So when Barcelona asked him if he wanted to play that exact way again, the answer was already written. Barcelona now have a midfielder defined by sheer tactical intelligence, composure, and razor-sharp recovery work. They didn't just sign a world-class player, they stole Real Madrid's hometown kid by offering something money can't buy. But a footballer doesn't sign for a philosophy alone, especially not a player worth more than 70 million euros. Barcelona needed a tactical reason, and Hansi Flick had one. Now, let's strip away the romance for a second, mate, because Hansi Flick didn't sign Rodri just because of his name or the romantic narrative of bringing him back to Spain. No, this was a cold, calculated tactical necessity. You see, Flick wants this Barcelona side playing on the front foot, suffocating teams by pushing their defensive line right up to the halfway line, pressing with terrifying intensity, and locking the opposition inside their own half the second they lose the ball. It looks brilliant when it works, but let's be real, the higher you push that defensive line, the more exposed you are to getting absolutely shredded on the counterattack. High reward, but massive risk. And that's the thing about Rodri, he isn't out there sprinting 40 yards to make desperate sliding tackles, because he doesn't need to be fast when his brain is already 3 steps ahead of everyone else on the pitch. Official reports from Barca describe him as a player with elite tactical intelligence, unbelievable composure on the ball, and unmatched ability to regain possession, and pinpoint precise passing, which is basically the exact blueprint for what a modern pivot needs in a high-pressing system. In fact, if you look at how he controls the central axis, his real magic comes down to what tactical analysts call rest defense, which is just a fancy way of saying he keeps the team's shape intact while everyone else is charging forward. Picture this. 8 Barcelona players are locked in the final third. Both fullbacks are pushed high up the pitch and the center backs are sitting near the center circle. And then suddenly, a pass gets intercepted and the opposition looks to launch a lethal counterattack. That is the exact split second where a dominant team turns completely vulnerable. Unless you have Rodri, he doesn't panic and he doesn't sprint back 40 yards in a blind frenzy. He literally just stands in the right spot, steps into the passing lane, nicks the ball back, plays a simple 5-yard pass, and boom, Barcelona are right back on the attack. It's the ultimate safety net. It's not the sort of stuff that blows up on TikTok highlights. But let me tell you, it is the glue that keeps an entire tactical machine from collapsing the moment possession is lost. And suddenly, the transfer starts to make sense, because Barcelona weren't simply buying a midfielder. They were buying insurance for an entire tactical idea. Now, let's get into the absolute madness of this entire transfer, mate. Because the single biggest paradox in the whole story is how Manchester City basically used pure Barcelona DNA to forge Rodri into a world beater, only for Barca to come along and swipe the finished product right off the shelf. You see, when he arrived at Man City back in 2019, he was already a quality player, but over the next 6 years, Pep Guardiola turned him into arguably the greatest number 6 on the planet, and the man literally racked up 298 appearances, scored 28 goals, bagged 4 Premier League titles, lifted the Champions League in 2023, and scooped up 2 FA Cups along the way. By the time he hit his peak, he wasn't just dominating England, he was conquering the world, claiming the Ballon d'Or in 2024. And then driving Spain all the way to a World Cup victory in 2026 where he took home the golden ball. Absolute elite tier. And who was the architect behind all of that? Pep Guardiola himself. The very man who embodied Barcelona's footballing soul was the one who spent 6 long years perfecting Rodri's game in Manchester. So when you step back and look at the sheer poetry of it all, Barcelona didn't steal Rodri from Pep's football, they stole Pep's finished product. Think about it, mate. Barca didn't sign the raw youngster who was breaking through at Villarreal, and they didn't sign the unpolished talent who left Atlético Madrid as a 23-year-old. No, they got the complete package. They got the Ballon d'Or winner, they got the World Cup hero, they got the masterclass engine built by Pep himself. And honestly, that is the exact detail that makes Real Madrid fans want to pull their hair out. Because while Madrid were busy trying to build another Galactico dream team, Barca swooped in and grabbed the most refined, battle-tested midfielder in world football. They got the brain. But there was one more advantage Barcelona could offer, and this time it had nothing to do with Pep. Let's talk about the human side of this move, mate, because it's easy to look at a tactical board or a massive price tag and forget that football is still played by human beings. And when Rodri walked through the doors at Barcelona, he wasn't stepping into alien territory. You see, a lot of people try to make this sound dead simple, like, oh, he plays with Barca lads for Spain, so obviously he picked Barca. But it's so much deeper than just sharing a pitch once a month, because Rodri didn't just join a new squad. He stepped straight into an ecosystem full of players he'd already suffered with, sweated with, and literally won the bloody 2026 World Cup alongside. Look at that World Cup roster. FIFA confirmed it themselves. Rodri was sharing a dressing room with Pedri, Gavi, Dani Olmo, Ferran Torres, Eric Garcia, Pau Cubarsí, Lamine Yamal, and even Marc Cucurella, absolute modern Spanish royalty. So when Rodri walked into that Barcelona dressing room for the very first time, it didn't feel like a scary new job at all. It felt like walking into a room where half the team already spoke his exact footballing language. Pedri knows the exact rhythm Rodri likes to play at. Gavi understands the physical intensity he demands in the middle of the park. Dani Olmo knows precisely where Rodri is going to drop the ball between the lines. And Lamine Yamal knows that the moment Rodri looks up, a millimeter-perfect pass is landing right at his feet. It's an invisible cheat code. Listen, in elite football, tactical chemistry isn't something you can just slap down 76.5 million euros for and expect it to work on day one. You have to build it through blood, sweat, and tears over years. And Rodri already had the entire foundation laid down. For a UK fan, it's basically like switching companies, but half your old department moved with you to the new office. Sure, you still have to learn the new company software, but you're not starting from absolute zero on your first day. They had the familiarity, they had the trust, and they had the shared glory. So Barcelona had the player, the system, the identity, and the relationships. Which leaves one final question. How did Real Madrid let all of that slip through their fingers? Now, let's settle the big question, mate, because a lot of people assume Real Madrid got pricing out or that Rodri hated them, but honestly, that's complete rubbish. Real Madrid had the cash, and Rodri certainly didn't hate his hometown team. But while Madrid thought they had all the time in the world, Barcelona saw an opening. and they moved with absolute brutal precision. You see, Madrid were actually in talks with Rodri right after the World Cup, but they dragged their feet, hesitation set in, and the deal just stalled in the mud. And that's when Deco and Barcelona stepped up to the plate. And even Deco admitted later that Rodri wasn't even in their initial summer transfer plans, but the moment they realized, wait a minute, Rodri is actually available right now, they slammed the accelerator straight to the floor. Reports suggest that while Rodri was relaxing on holiday down in Costa Brava in late July, attending a wedding and soaking in the sun after winning the World Cup, Deco quietly flew in to meet him for a private chat in Begar. Now, Barca never officially confirmed that secret meeting, but as a football story, it's absolute cinema, because one of the biggest transfer twists of the modern era didn't happen in a sterile boardroom at the Etihad or the Bernabeu. It took a dramatic turn over coffee on the Catalan coast. And by August 18th, it was completely sealed. Barcelona agreed a deal worth around 76.5 million euros with Manchester City, locking Rodri down until 2030, leaving Real Madrid empty-handed on the sidelines while City lost the absolute undisputed best number 6 on the planet. They didn't just buy a midfielder, they bought total control. So how did Barcelona actually steal Rodri from Real Madrid? It wasn't just about throwing money around. And it wasn't just about global prestige. It was because Barcelona gave a crystal clear answer to the one question Rodri cared about most. Where does my football actually make the most sense? Real Madrid wanted Rodri because he was the best midfielder available. Barcelona wanted him because he was the missing piece of their football. And perhaps that is the real difference. Madrid saw a superstar. Barcelona saw a system. Now the question is whether Rodri can make Barca even better. Do you think Real Madrid made a massive mistake by waiting? Or was Barcelona simply the better fit for Rodri from day one? Let me know in the comments below, mate. And if you enjoy football stories where the transfer is only half the story, hit that subscribe button right now.